DIY soft shackle kit. Hello everybody, welcome back, and today I'm a little bit nervous and I'll tell you for why. Normally when I do a video on a knot, I go and research the knot, I make sure that I can tie it, and hopefully I can give you a good demonstration on that particular knot. However, in this case, and also the other thing is, I'd like to thank an anonymous donation, and it was because of the anonymous donation that I was able to go out and purchase this DIY soft shackle kit. And it just coincided that I've got an Instagram account and I follow a number of knotters, rope people, things like that, and they just happened to have a video which should appear, I hope now, so that you can see exactly what I bought into. And so what I did was, with that little donation that I received, I went ahead and bought myself a soft shackle kit. And so, just looking at what it says on here, it says make 4 Dyneema soft shackles, including splicing needles. Gosh, I'm struggling with my words today. So anyway, I can make 4 Dyneema soft shackles. Now, for those of you who know me, who've been following for a while, you can see here, I do like a soft shackle. These are traditional. You also know that I like traditional rope work. And so here's a soft shackle that I made. And the whole idea is you can close it up on yourself and you form basically a carabiner as such. It's just a simple way of forming a loop in a rope and it won't come undone. And as you can see here, here's another. These are ones that I use in the car. These are quite horrible to look at, but very functional. And you can see again, it just forms a nice loop, and therefore it just replaces the need for a carabiner. And the other thing that I've got, and here is an even longer one, goes on for quite some distance. But the other good thing about having soft shackles is that you can, if you want to, daisy chain them together to make them even longer. And so yeah, I am a fan of the soft shackle. I love a soft shackle. If I can use a soft shackle instead of something else, I will go ahead and make one and use it. So let's get on and see exactly what I've purchased here with the DIY soft shackle kit. So let's open it up and have a look inside. And the other thing I want you to know as well is Dyneema. I have not got a clue what it is really. I know that it is stronger than steel, I believe. And I also know that it's got, I don't know if you can see it on there, but it's woven together. I don't know much more about it, but let's just say this: when this video comes out, I will give you more information. So in the information in the description below, I will put a link in so that you can learn more about Dyneema. Okay, so what does it say here? It says make 4 Dyneema soft shackles, including splicing needles. So as I open this up, let's pull these out. That is obviously a splicing needle, and in fact, as I read, there's a little label on there. It actually says that it is a D splicer. D? Yeah, why is it called D? I don't know. There must be a D shape in there somewhere, possibly at the very end. If we actually look at this, I can actually prise these apart, and as you can see, oh, I'm out of shot there. So in other words, it is a loop on the whole thing. Okay? So there is a shackle. And then let's see, let's get the other metal object out there. And I recognise this simply for the fact is it's not dissimilar to the grip fid that I've got. And the whole idea is, looking at this, is it's got a hollowed out section there. That's hollowed out with a bit of a point on it. It then has another, it's got a rounded section in the middle, and then comes to another section here where it's hollowed out, but there is like a little lip or grip in there. So in other words, you can lay your cord in there and it won't slip out because that grip will hold the cord. Well, let's test it. I've got a piece of cordage here. I'm assuming it all fits in all to size, and then as I feed that in, hopefully, yeah, as I feed that in, that has now gripped hold of it, and it's not the tightest of grip, but I think it's enough just to pull your materials through. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. So anyway, that is in there. So that's obviously my two what? Splicing needles, they call them. And then inside here, this is my Dyneema cordage. And I know for a fact it comes in 2 different sizes within this package. And does it say on the front? No, it doesn't. But what we'll do is we'll get it out. And the other thing about this kit as well is that I do know about from that previous little video you saw, you get some fine, very fine thread here. Let's show you the red on a darker background. See, that is very, very fine. But that is like a release mechanism. Let's have a look. Okay, so... And also inside here, I've got some instructions, and let's read what the instructions say. It says, to make your soft shackle, follow one of the following options. Download our app, rope splicing, and it gives you the information like that. Or watch our videos online, and it gives you the information about that. Or follow the instructions in the book, Splicing Modern Ropes. Well, I don't have the book for Splicing Modern Ropes. I don't really have the ability here in front of me to watch the video, but what I can do is download our app, and that's what that little short clip of video I showed you earlier, that is what we're going to do, is we're going to use the rope splicing app. And so there's a quick row of pictures here, but at the moment those pictures don't mean too much to me, other than the fact is that I want to end up with a soft shackle at the end. Okay, so let's have a look at what this cordage actually looks like. Now I'll pick the red one here because, and then when I squeeze it together, it is hollow inside. It's very hard to see. It's hollow inside, and it is some form of braid. It looks a bit like coach whipping actually, but anyway. And as I feel, it's very slippery. I'm not sure if that's good or bad if it's slippery. It's very slippery as such, and this cordage here, obviously very, very strong. I don't know exactly what it is, but certainly it is designed for our shackle. And so yes, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that I have got the app on my iPad, and then let's go ahead and make a soft shackle. So, as I've always said, let's get knotting. Okay, so as you can see, I've downloaded the app onto my iPad, and the next thing that I need to do is, it does say go to, there's a particular picture, and it's that one there. So what I'm going to do is just click on that one there. It opens it up, and instantly I can see my next issue is I need a ruler and a marker. Do you or don't you? Well, because I'm following these instructions, yes I do. If, say for example, I'm making a soft shackle like this, I don't need a ruler as such, because I know roughly what size I want. Maybe this is just to help guide you so that you don't get it wrong, and then you can adapt it later on. And also, you can't see it, but underneath here there is an instructions, and it says for a 4mm soft shackle. So obviously I want the thicker Dyneema cord here. This is obviously 4mm, and it says for the 4mm shackle, take 85 centimeters single braid Dyneema. So in other words, can Dyneema come in more braids than single? I don't know. Maybe it has a core. Some have a core, some have a sleeve. I don't know. And then determine the size of the shackle at about 20 centimeters from the center of the rope. Okay, I think I know what it's trying to say there. So determine the size of the shackle at about 20 centimeters from the rope. And actually, when I look here, they have actually got a rope laid out with a ruler to the 20 centimeter mark. Looks like what they've done here is they've put a mark there and another mark up the length of the folded rope at the 20 centimeter mark. So that's what I'm going to go and do now, is I'm going to find myself something that will mark my Dyneema and a ruler. So following the on-screen instructions, I have now folded or centered my Dyneema, and actually when you center it seems to hold it holds its shape quite well. So just another little thing to note about Dyneema. And then the next thing is, thought just struck me, how well does it burn? I don't know. Can you melt the ends? We shall find out. So anyway, the next thing that we want to do is, according to this, we want to determine the size of the shackle at about 20 centimeters from the center of the rope. I'm not sure how that determines the size of the shackle. Obviously, the shackle will end up 20 centimeters long. So if, say, for example, I, just as a thought, see if it fits around my wrist. That would fit around my wrist. So I could actually, because this stuff is as strong as steel, I could probably have this around my wrist and use in emergency. I'm not sure when I'd need it to use it in emergency, but anyway, that's what we'll do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark at this point here, put a little bit of blue there, just in case I undo it. I don't know, it has to be like that. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it off at the 20 centimeter point. So anyway, take it across here at 20 centimeters. So it's about there. Now, do I mark both sides or one side? So anyway, I've just marked it at that point there. I don't know if I'm supposed to mark it on both sides or not, but I have done it as per the instructions. Oh no, I haven't. Their instructions are up the other way. So just in case, oh, here we go. Let's mark both ends. There we go. So anyway, I've got both bits marked there. I'm going to do it exactly the same as the instructions. So as you can see there, they've got their Dyneema so that it is folded at that point there, and then we're marking it off at the bottom at the 20 centimeter mark. And so now I can go on to page 2, and it says for every millimeter extra diameter rope, allow 10 centimeters extra length. E.g., for a 6 millimeter shackle, soft shackle, you need 105 centimeters. I don't really know what that means, but what the instructions are showing me is this. I take my long, look at the name again, long splicing needle, or this is a D-splicer, and what I'm doing is I am feeding it into one of the weaves here at the point where I've marked. So that's what I'm going to do now. Feed it in at the point where I've marked, and actually that's not easy. Maybe I've got to open the weave up a bit. So there we go, I've opened the weave up a bit, and then now, oh, I've poked my splicing needle all the way through, but now I should be able to, you see, now it's running down the core of my Dyneema. Now, so I need to go, so I've done exactly the same as it says on the screen there. I'm at the halfway-ish point, and so the next thing that I need to do is scroll right, and right. Okay, so what I'm doing now is it's telling me to push my D-splicer all the way down to the point where my fold is. And I've also marked that point on my fold. So I'm going to go ahead and poke that through. And, I see the problem here now. Getting it through the centre without it coming out through the weave is not as easy as one would like to think. So keep going, oh, out again. There we go, we're coming through, and then eventually I want to come out where? there. Okay, so I have now got the same as on my picture. So let's just bring that all up a bit. So you can see here now, as I'm bunching it up, it's hollowing out and I'm at the same point as on my picture. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is move across the screen, and it is saying, okay, it's saying the following. I need to now, let's see, I need to now get hold of this end and put the end through that eye of my D-splicer. So I'm just going to open it up a bit. Gosh, that's easier said than done. Let's get something to prise it open a bit. So I've prised it open. No, this isn't working. Okay. Obviously, practice makes perfect, as they say in the trade. So let's just move it down so I've got more of a gap here, and then form a bigger hole. There we go. Form a bigger hole in there, and now I can put my end through that gap, and that is one problem I see. Okay, so I've got my end through that gap, and then the next thing that I need to do is, I'm same as the picture on there now, so let's get that ruler out of the way. So as you can see, I've gone down through the center. I've now pulled up my Dyneema into that center piece there. So I've got a loop created at the top there. And the next thing I do is, well, according to this, it says pull. So I pull, and I have to take that through. So obviously, so I've got, it looks like I've got too much here poking through my end at the moment. So what I've got to do is reduce that down so that I haven't got so much poking through it. And then reduce that down, and then this time try pulling. And that is certainly, oh, there it goes. Okay, and now what I'm doing is I have now started, you can see there now that loop has started to be pulled down the core of my Dyneema. So the next thing I want to do is pull it all the way out. Okay, so I'm going to pull it all the way out like that. So as you can see, I'm pulling it all the way out, and then gradually, there we go. Okay, so I am now at the next point of my little video or little app that's telling me what to do. So go across to the next screen, and oh, okay, the needle, the D-splicer, I'm sure it's the D-splicer. I'm sure someone from Premium Ropes will actually tell me if I've got it wrong or not in the comments below. But this can now that we've pulled this through, I can take this off and I can then just pull it through a little bit gently. And what I'm going to do is, I love things neat and tidy. And so I'm going to now pull that through. And then the next thing it's showing is that I need to place this needle through the eye that we have created at that end. And then if I go on to the next screen, I can see what's happening now. So the whole idea now is that I pull it through, and as I pull it through, I'm just making my eye smaller and smaller, and the whole idea of this particular needle here is that it's going to make sure that it's locked in place. So there we go, it's locked in place, because otherwise we would turn the thing inside out. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is, okay, I can now, sometimes I'm surprised at what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, so I can now take that out and let's see, just square it off a bit. Don't lose that gap, that eye. See that I've still got a very small eye at that point there. But the next thing it's saying to do is to get hold of this one here, this top one here, and we've got to pass it through the other leg as such. So that's the top leg, that's the bottom leg, and so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my lacing needle as such. Well, it's not lacing, they call it splicing needle. So let's put that into my splicing needle, and then the next thing that I want to do is just take it up like that and then go through at that point there and take myself through the actual Dyneema. And I want to make sure it's in the middle, obviously, because the middle gives me more. And then so as you can see now, I'm passing that through the middle. That's the same as the picture now that I can see on my screen, and I take it through. The fluffy ends are causing me some grief, but anyway, so take it through. There we go, I've got it through now, and once I've got it through, oh, it's getting a bit stiff. I've caught something there by the sound of it or look of it. Okay, there we go. And now I can take my needle off. So it's all coming together, the plan's working, and now I've got the same there. So what I've done is I've taken that leg, passed it through the core that's coming out there, and then, let's see, I'm just taking the needle off. So this obviously, in fact, whilst we're here, let's see what happens if we melt a bit of Dyneema. Oh, it does melt, but not brilliantly, but hopefully that will prevent my ends fraying a bit more. Whether this has any impact at all on the Dyneema, I do not know, but I'm sure. Listen, if you know more about Dyneema, give me a comment down below and tell me about it. So there we go. So right, now I've done that. So I have got now the same there, except that's going up like that. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is flick the screen and yeah, okay, so flick the screen. So if I go from there, I've got a loop, so, and then if I go to there, I've got no loop. So I'm assuming, oh God, I hate assuming, I now pull that all the way through to that point there. And then just pull that up, and then we should have, yeah, that looks the same now. Okay, so I've now got that shape there. So what I've done is I've pulled that loop all the way through, and the next thing that I want to do is move my screen across. And what are we doing? Let's just, sorry, I'm going through a bit more so we can see exactly what we're doing. Yep, I see what we're doing. Okay, I'll show you now. Okay, for those of you who know it, what they're showing here, it looks like they're using the lanyard knot as such. And what I'm going to do now is tie the lanyard knot into the end of my ropes here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, they show it slightly differently to the tying method, but we all have our own way of tying it. But what I'm going to do is tie it the way that I know. And what I do is I get, in fact, what I will do is I'll put a link in the description down below, because it might be difficult to see of just the knot itself. I've done this knot many times, and what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description down below so you can just see that knot and see how it's made. But basically what I'm doing is I'm getting my two cords running over my thumb like so, and then the bottom cord I'm putting a twist in it and folding it across my top cord, and then what I'm going to do is just hold it with my thumb and finger there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is going over the bottom cord here. I'm going to take that bottom cord, and what I want to do is bring it around underneath my other standing end. And then now that I've brought it underneath my other standing end, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over, under, over, and then we will end up with a carrick bend. Hopefully. It is a little bit fiddly, this one, so just bear with me as I do this. I hate doing real-time videos because when I get it wrong you all can see it. Right, so what I've done here now is, as you can see, I have now tied myself a nice little carrick bend in the top of this knot. And what I'm going to do is just pull it down a little bit to square it off. There we go. Just pull it down that little bit more, square it off, It is quite hard to work with actually. It's quite springy, which is a bit awkward at times. Okay, so now that I've got my carrick bend there, the next thing that we need to do is we need to bring round each end, and it goes underneath, sorry, it goes round over the top of the one that's going around my finger, and then it wants to come up through the middle at that point there. And so take it round and up through the middle at that point there. There we go, that's one. And then I just will need to turn it round and do exactly the same to the other one. So in other words, this one here is going to go round the back of that one and then up through the middle. And so take it round the back and then bring it up through the middle like so. And you can see now instantly here, as I do this, let me just shape this up a little bit more. You can see here now we've got a nice diamond shaped knot has appeared in our work. So there we go. We've now got a nice little button knot has appeared there. And then if I go on to the next pictures, blah, yeah, they're showing it all again. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh. Okay, they're showing in detail this particular knot that we've just done here. And we're now at this point here, so you can see here now that I have got my knot the same as theirs. Let's have a look. They've got the two ends, so it's that way round. So there we go. And what I need to do by the look of it is I need to move that knot. Oh, I don't know. Their markings are there and the actual knot is tied off. So their markings are there, the knot is tied off roughly at that point there. Maybe they're using a different size, I don't know. Okay, so it looks like they've cut it. So what they've done there is they have formed the knot tightly and then cut off the ends. And so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to cut off the ends just yet, but what I will do is I will form the knot up nice and tightly and just pull it down and work my way round and get out all the slack in it. And I think, to be honest, if it's a soft shackle, you really want to go out there and really make sure and get your fid underneath it and just make sure that it's pulled up nice and tight. I mean, the only thing I would say about Dyneema is that it is a rather slippery rope to work with, and you can see here I've also caught it, and I don't like the fact that I've caught it. And so what I want to try and do is just get that little bit of caught out of it, that little scraggly end, because I don't like it. Just be careful when using it, because I like my shackles to look nice, neat and square. And you can see here now, gradually that knot is becoming nice and tight, nice and symmetrical, and there we go, we're tightening up on that, and we've got ourselves a nice little button knot on here. The only thing I would say is that with the Dyneema, as you tighten it up, it does crush the folds a bit. So you've got to be, when you're using it, you've got to be so careful not to pull this weave apart in certain places. But like I say, it is my first go, so there we go. I have now the next thing it's saying on there is to cut those ends off. I'm not going to cut those ends off just yet because I just want to see what happens. So I'm just poking my fid through there just to make sure that hole's still there. And then the next thing it's doing is, right, it's now showing that I need to open up that hole. So I open up that hole and there we go. So I've opened up the hole and I assume now, oh no. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so I've opened up that hole, and so the next thing that it's saying to do now is, so I need to open it up fairly large, I suppose large enough for my knot to fit through, and so that's large enough for my knot to fit through quite loosely. So the next thing it's saying to do is, on the side that's running through the centre, I need to put one of these thin cords in. So to put the thin cord in, it's saying use the lacing, I keep calling it it's not, it's a splicing needle this. So I need to pass the splicing needle, so just check that again, make sure my knot can pass through that. Yeah, my knot can pass through that quite comfortably. Let me just give myself a little bit more, lock it off. And so the next thing that I'm doing is passing my splicing needle through the centre. And then once I've passed it through the centre, I can then pass this very fine cord that I've got here, and it's a very strong feeling cord, through there, and then pull out. I assume pull out, I haven't gone to the next picture. Yeah, pull it out, and then, whoop, centre it. Bit fiddly to see, so centre it. I think what I'll do is, if I master this, what I will do is I will get some larger diameter Dyneema, and then do this again so that it's visually better to look at. So what I'm going to do now is I've gone through there, I'm just going to allow it close a bit and just make sure that I can still pass my knot. Yeah, I can pass my knot through there. And so now what I've done is this is like a sort of a release handle. So the whole idea of this is that if that eye closes up tight around my shackle, I can just pull down on that and open up my loop. That's the whole idea of that. It's just a quick loop to get access to your eye. So then it's showing close it down. Okay, so what it's doing now is saying close it down. So close it down so that it's tight on my loop. And so I've got a small eye at the end here, and then the next thing it's doing is, let's show you on here, it's then showing that I need to tie just a simple overhand knot into this one here, and then when I've tied that overhand knot, it then allows me to open up the loop like that, quite easy. So yeah, you can get your fingers in there and then just shut it down again. There we go, that would be tight around my shackle, and then to open it up, I then just pull down on that. Now, I don't like the fact that we're using, do I like it or don't I? Okay, they're using a simple overhand knot. I think what I would do at this particular point here is I would put another lanyard knot in as such, simply for the fact is, it just gives you a little bit more to grip hold of. And yeah, just a little bit more to grip hold of. Whether or not that's an advantage or a disadvantage, I don't know. Maybe having a bigger knot on this end would interfere. But the whole idea now is that I can now open this shackle up. So open it up and then pass my button knot through. I should have cut the ends off, but I haven't. And then once it's passed through, I can then close down on that loop. So close down on the loop, and now you can see where I've closed down on the loop. Probably lack of experience here as well, but now I have got myself a nice soft shackle, and to be honest, that is not coming undone. I mean, that is, I have read somewhere that, and like I said, in the description below, I'll tell you more about Dyneema, but I have read somewhere in the description down below, and I'll put it in the description down below, that this stuff is strength-wise stronger than steel. So as you can see here, what I've done is, all it needs for me to do now is cut off my ends here, and I have made myself a nice little soft shackle, and then by pulling on the red cord there, I can then open up my loop a bit more and undo my shackle. So there we go. Yes, as a kit it works, and my honest opinion is I like it. I like it. One is I've been learning something new. I like the idea of learning something new, which is always interesting to me. I did feel a bit nervous about doing it with Dyneema because I've never used this stuff before, but I must say it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is the strongest thing in the world, I believe. So, you know, for strength. And the other beautiful thing about these is these are great for replacing, say, for example, stainless steel shackles, simply for the fact is it weighs a lot less. This weighs hardly anything. So if you're lugging about a load of stainless steel shackles and you don't want to, maybe, I'm not saying this will, but maybe this could actually replace some of your stainless steel shackles. I don't know. I don't know if climbers use it. Listen, anything you can tell me about, do climbers use it? How safe is this? Etc, etc. Is this not correct for climbing, for example? Will it actually turn itself inside out if too much weight's been put on it? I don't know. Tell me more about it, and I will also try and investigate more, and I will put something in the description. And if you can tell me more about this, please do put something in the comments down below, and then we'll all know about our Dyneema. But I must say, I've got a soft shackle. I love soft shackles, and to be honest, I think this one, I'm going to attach it to the dog's lead so that we can actually, when I go out with the dog, instead of undoing his lead, I can use the soft shackle to secure him to something else. So anyway, that's it. That was my, here we go again, DIY soft shackle kit. And you can make 4 Dyneema shackles. I've used the thickest cordage, and there's also the thinner stuff as well. And so, yeah, and so there's thick, there's thin, there's the thicker stuff, which hasn't been messed about with. So basically, in this particular kit, I've got a red, blue, white, and silvery grey colour. And yeah, I like it, I must say. As a little thing, I'm sure sailors of this world, other people will like this, simply for that the fact is lightweight, very strong. Shut up, John, you've said enough. Okay, once again, thanks very much for watching, and to that person who made the donation in order for me to film this, thanks very much, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye bye.